Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Spenna here with you today. It is the 9th of April 2014, right around 03 Universal Time when I'm making this update. We are still watching severe tropical cyclone Ita. Now, this storm system, not a weak one by any means. Right now, a equivalent of a typhoon or a hurricane if this was off there into the northern hemisphere. Category 3 on the Bureau of Meteorology scale, and definitely not very weak at all. Winds right now actually at rate about 150 kilometers per hour near that center of circulation, and it is continuing to track off there towards the southwest, and definitely it's going to be impacting the Queensland coastline through the coming days. That's just a quick look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center's track on this storm system. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it, the official track at the very least. And we can see right here, winds right now 70 up to 85 knots. They expect us to make landfall there right around Lockhart, well north of Cairns, but skirting the coastline, and that could be problematic. Big rainmaker up and down the Queensland coastline if this does occur. They're kind of following some of the model consensus with this storm system, which many of them are coming in cahoots with it skirting the coastline, or at least tracking down there towards the south and southeast. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Meteorology, of course, the official agency, that first one was the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, which is the U.S. military. They already have gale watches in effect coming on shore. Excuse me, I said Lockhart earlier. Just north of Cooktown, south of Cohen, well north of Cairns, but I think they're in their extended range. They still expect this to kind of meander and come down there towards the south within some of the model consensus. And I'll show you what few of the models are saying right now out here, and go ahead and pull that up. Now, this is first that GFS total rainfall accumulation, but let's take a look at what the overall consensus is, or actually, here it is right here. The overall consensus is with Ita, and many of the outlooks, the dynamical models, just kind of skirting the coastline, and it really, the main reason for this southward drag, there are a few outliers off here towards the north, the ECMWF, one of our more successful models being one of them, but the main reason for that pull towards the southeast is that this high pressure ridge down towards the south is going to kind of give way through the coming days. And you can see it right here if we pull back the picture. I'll get rid of the track so this looks a little bit less confusing. We have this high down here, and now we have our low right there. Now if we go ahead into Thursday and Friday, we have a bit of a passing low down here, and that breaks up that high pressure ridge. And I think many of those model and those dynamical outlooks, they pick up on that and they steer this a little bit down there towards the southeast. Unfortunately, I can't display some of those other outlooks. This is just the ECMWF coming on shore farther off towards the north. Still, regardless, I mean, areas just south of the center of circulation, you're going to be looking at some pretty significant weather coming out of this storm system. And what I mean by significant is we're talking about a fairly decent storm surge, of course, damaging winds south of it. That's where the highest risk is going to be. Let's take a look at, now that's that ECMWF model. I'll go ahead and show you what the GFS model is showing as well. Right around Cooktown, extending down through Cairns. Yeah, if it does skirt the coastline, could affect you, but Cooktown, especially if that model does continue to play out, is going to be some very damaging weather through the next, well, this is extending out by Friday, going into the morning hours. Right now, making this update on Wednesday, so about 48 hours from now, and I already know that those gale watches are in effect, and people definitely need to be making preparations ahead of the storm system at this time, prior to it coming ashore, or at least prior to the first 24 hours prior to it coming ashore, because those outer rain bands are going to extend well ahead of it. And if we go back to a satellite picture, you can see how pretty massive this storm is at this time. I mean, the outer rain band's already starting to push areas around the reef and even back towards Solomon Islands, where it caused upwards of about 20 deaths this past weekend while the low was still developing. So still a pretty potent storm system. We haven't seen that core eye form on this just yet, but I think through the coming, well, hours, we're going to see that develop more so once it moves a little ways from New Guinea and it starts to get away from that friction the mountains there of the PNG are causing on this storm system. I know, just a very quick update on this, and our friends at Cyclone Chasers, the only reason why I'm putting a quick update out, a few of you asked, friends at Cyclone Chasers, they put out about a 30-minute long update on Ita here, and they're there, and they're going to be out ahead of the storm system, so definitely have more detailed information to provide you. What I can say is that if you are in these areas in orange, get ready for this one. It's coming ashore, especially for those of you just south of that center of circulation. It's going to be some damaging winds out here. Cooktown all the way down to Port Douglas. I think that you really need to get ready for this the most. Not only the winds, but also that threat of storm surge. Take a look at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center track, and I'll pull this up because it differs from what the model consensus is saying. So I'm going to get rid of the winds on this. But we're going to go ahead and pull up the latest Joint Typhoon Warning Center track. And as this comes ashore, I mean, we're looking at winds of right around 190, gusting up to about 230 kilometers per hour right there. And I'll show you what I'm looking at. Winds right now, once this comes ashore, 184 to 230, moving at about 13 kilometers per hour. That's pretty probable. And remember what I said. Those winds that are coming ashore on the southern periphery, that is where you're going to be seeing the most damage of ice coming offshore and also the highest risk of surge. As I know most of you know this out here, this area is not unused to severe tropical cyclones. But farther towards the north, though, what I have read is that actually it's been some time since this area has been hit by a full-blown cyclone. It happens more so down here towards the south, but not off here towards the north all that often. So there may be a few people that haven't experienced a decent one near the immediate coast. Now, the good news is that that area is less populated than farther towards the south, so less people will be affected. But if it does recurve and staggers down here along the coast, it is going to be bringing a pretty heavy rainfall, and we can see that with the latest accumulation outlook. I mean, just look at the GFS model run. It just shows all that heavy precipitation occurring up and down the immediate coastline. All right, that's enough for me jabbering on and on about this one. Just doing this in a live update fashion. I really didn't do any editing with it, and you could probably tell with my whole kind of flipping back and forth on it. But what I can say is that Ita definitely going to be coming ashore as a very severe tropical system. Please check out our friends at Cyclone Chasers. Also continue to check in with the Bureau of Meteorology's track on this storm system and what they are saying, because if you are ahead of it, it is going to be potentially dangerous and potentially deadly if you don't make the proper precautions. All right, stay safe out there, everybody. Thanks for watching.